Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Benefits Cooldown. That's Ed Legande. I'm Eric Silverman. Ed, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, I got a really good one for you today. I've always been a big believer in if you're not growing your diet, right? You got to find new clients, you got to grow a business, you've got mouths to feed at the end of the day. But walk me through, have you ever experienced this where you're courting a new client or a new consulting gig or whatever the situation is, and then ultimately you're thinking, you know what, the things I'm good at and the thing this client wants, I'm not sure if this is really going to jive at the end of the day, and then you just ultimately just back out. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Can you walk me through something like that? Have you experienced that?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I feel like, and let's call a spade a spade. We're growing a business. We're salespeople. We own the business here. We're high end. We're executive. Whatever term you want to call each other, but we're salespeople. We have to sell. It's okay. It's not a secret, right? And I feel like a lot of people in sales, regardless of the industry, if somebody fogs a mirror, right, means they're breathing and they're ready to sign. Most people, sadly, in this world will just take the account. They'll just take it and deal with it, right? I'll admit I was that way early on in my career, and I get it. And a lot of people are like that. But in my situation now, I don't have the patience, the tolerance, the bandwidth, or the wherewithal to be like that. And I do have that happen. I don't want to say often, but it happens probably a handful of times a year where we're working with a potential client, a prospect. They found me, we found them. It doesn't matter. They're not a client yet. No commerce has been exchanged. We haven't conducted business. We're in the courting phase. They're checking us out. We're checking them out. And dude, it just happened last week. I went through a month-long meetings with a potential client, a consulting client, and I just kept getting the feeling things weren't working out. And there's various reasons. It doesn't matter. Could be what they want, what they need. Could be price-based. It doesn't matter really. But I kept getting, in the heart of hearts, my gut feeling was this isn't working. It's already semi-pseudo confrontational. We're not even working together yet. They still want to work with me, which is great. I thank them. I'm blessed for that. I feel grateful, but I had to pull the plug. I had to say respectfully and politely, guys, I like you guys. I think you're on the right track. I know I can help you a lot, but you're not ready for what I can offer. And you've already shown that you're not ready to do it the way that I know it needs to be done. And the whole reason you'd be bringing me in is to give you that advice. They weren't happy. They were unfortunately not excited about not working together, which again, it's great in my case. I wasn't happy not working with them either. I'm not happy to lose potential revenue that was going to definitely come in, but I just had to trust in my gut that it wasn't a good fit. And here's the other thing, because I've done this before. I fall on my own sword years ago. If I take a client like that, it's going to put undue stress and pressure on my team. It's going to affect my entire employee team culture, which ultimately will affect other groups that we love, that are a pleasure to work with. My friend Steve Napolitan, I butchered his last name, but he talks about wow clients versus ow clients. And we have so many wow clients. I don't need any more ouch or ow clients. And I certainly don't need to bring them on if I'm already getting red flags and we haven't even done business yet. Has anything like that ever happened to you? Can you appreciate that in any capacity?
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of took the words out of my mouth talking about Steve Napolitan and talking about wow clients. It was a great speech. I heard his speech about 3 years ago. And it couldn't have been more timely because at the time I was dealing with an organization who had reached out to me almost like clockwork and wanted me to quote every line of coverage and just whittle it down as much as possible, hours upon work. And then ultimately, I think it was the third time, fool me once, shame on you, but fool me twice, shame on me, right? It's very much so a time where they reached out again, asking me to go through this whole rigorous process. And if anyone's ever gone through a formal review process, it is time consuming. Nevertheless, I think there's this, interesting thing that we think about, right? When there's a salesperson who's hungry for new business and there's a team that has to manage that new business, you got to think about it. It's a relationship that needs to exist, right? And so when I started realizing that me just trying to bring this new business on could crush my team at the end of the day, it completely changed the way I approach potential new clientele. And so ultimately that particular, opportunity, I said, if you really want our services, we believe in the value that we bring. So I charged them a $5,000, which I remember speaking to Nelson about this. He said I was too low, but nevertheless, I charged them a $5,000, proposal fee. And, if they became a client, this is our expectation of clients, right? And that just, that level of value that I was pushing from the front end completely changed their perception of us. We were no longer just a quote shop, we were a consulting firm.
Exactly.
And so I was able to leverage our team's experience and on delivering the proposal value in the initial aspect. And, ultimately we parted ways because they were just looking for numbers. They weren't looking for an experience, in addition to the numbers. And so, but, walked away from that opportunity. I felt really great about it. I shared the story with our team and they felt like, I had their back. And, I've seen other salespeople do the same thing. So, it's just one of those things that we have a little bit of luxury and experience, right? I mean, imagine being a new young salesperson. You want every little bit of business.
It's hard to say no when you're brand new, and I get it. We've all been there, but I'll leave everybody with this: the quicker you learn to say no to a potential OW client, or even potentially firing a client that is an existing client that is already proven to be OW, not wow, the sooner your team's going to explode in the best way possible. Culture is going to improve. And frankly, the wow clients that you want and need, they're going to come pouring in as well. So anyway, appreciate you, Ed, as always. Everybody listening, stay tuned next week, another episode of the Benefits Cooldown.